want to waste your time. So we're going to talk about 5 simple things that you can actually do to promote your club. Why is this important? I chose 5 because I think sometimes people feel like we need to do a little bit of everything. And in PR, quality is always the most important thing, more so than quantity. It's better to do 1 or 2 things really well than to do 1,000 kind of however. One of the first things that I think you should always do, and this applies no matter, some of these tips actually apply no matter what you're doing, whether it's for your own personal business, your personal passion projects, or your Toastmasters club. The very first thing you always want to do is to first ensure that your information is up to date. Take an inventory check. If your club has a Facebook page, a Twitter, or X, a TikTok, every club has a Find a Club. You have a website. You want to make sure the information is correct and accurate. Double check the phone number. If you're meeting in person, double check the address. Is there enough information there for somebody that's going to visit? Do they need to come in through a certain door? Do they need to park in the rear of the building? All of these are things that you want to make sure you are communicating on your public-facing pages so that people can find you. Make sure your Instagram, everything is up to date. Is there an email that someone actually answers? Whose phone number is there? These are things, check every time you update officers, make it a part of whether you're semi-annual or annual to go ahead and do those. The next thing that you want to do is ensure you have engaging content. Engaging content is a lot of fun because this is where you get to express your club's personality. We have thousands of Toastmasters clubs all around the world, but every single one is different. And I would say that you can figure out what is special about your club and focus on promoting those things. Within my home district, we have several specialty clubs, for example. I believe one of our guests, Terrell, is from one of the clubs. We have a club that is a group of writers, and every year they put together an anthology that includes an article or a writing from each one of the members. So any promotion that is included in that club, that's something we should spotlight. Include member testimonials. That club, for example, the members or the authors can give a quick 1-minute tutorial or a testimonial about how being in Toastmasters has helped them to put together their writings or to promote their books and different things to share with the world. You can post meeting highlights, success stories. You can post tips, Tuesday tips, or communication tips. You can even host interviews with members or maybe district leaders that talk about how Toastmasters has helped them. Speech clips, member achievements, definitely promos for upcoming events and meetings are important as well. Posting engaging content shows them who your club is. It changes you from ABC Toastmasters to them looking at you online and saying, oh my gosh, look at all those happy faces in that picture. Look at all of that laughter in the video. Oh my goodness, listen to that amazing speech. This is super important to invite guests because they see something they want to check out. One of my clubs recently did something that generated 5 guests, and out of those 5, 2 people decided to rejoin the club. One of our members was inspired by watching the Super Bowl performance. She saw Kendrick Lamar perform, and as it was still Black History Month, for our final meeting, she decided to be the Toastmaster and created a theme of African American history, 40 acres and a mule. We took that theme and we sent an email out to all of our guests, our former guests, because we do keep a digital guest book, all of our past members, invited them to come, shared the theme, and lo and behold, 5 people popped up. One thing that we do is we always ask when people come. We allow them, introduce yourselves. Hey, how did you find us? All 5 guests came because of that theme. So imagine if we didn't share that, they wouldn't have been there. One of them came because she wanted to learn more about it. She wasn't from that same background. A couple other people just came because they were curious, what the heck were we going to talk about? Knowing your meeting themes and showing them are a great way to invite guests and past members to come and join you. And the last way that I'll encourage you to create more visibility is a way to strengthen your online presence. So what does that mean? Use hashtags. Now, pretty much everybody in Toastmasters does a post on social media, and they do hashtag Toastmasters, hashtag public speaking, hashtag leadership, hashtag communication. But I would challenge you to sit down and write down 5 things that are unique about your club. One thing that could be unique about your club is how you meet. Are you in person? Are you virtual? Are you hybrid? There are hashtags that you can use around that. Where are you located? Hashtag Honolulu. For my case, hashtag Los Angeles. People discover events and things around their city, so you can use your specific city locations as a hashtag. And then things that are unique about your club. One of the clubs I mentioned earlier, for example, they can use hashtag authors, hashtag writers. You can even Google what are the top 5 hashtags related to whatever your club specialty is. If you happen to be a club that celebrates whiskey drinkers, we had one of those before. They were whiskey makers or whiskey tasters, or we've had wine lover clubs. What are the top 5 terms people are looking for, and use those in your hashtags? All of those things can help you strengthen your online presence. Now, number 2, the next thing we're going to do is leverage word of mouth and member referrals. Now, if you're a PRM, did you know you have a team? Now, no one has their camera on but Tanish, and I'm wondering, I don't see anyone putting anything in the chat, but I wonder, do you know you have a team? Now, I'm interactive, so you guys can unmute and talk back to me, so I'm not talking to myself. But I want to make sure that every single one of you know that every member in your club is a part of your PR team, whether they know it or not. And it's your job to let them know. Meaning it's not just the VPR's job to promote, every member is. The VPPR should wrangle the team. So what do you do with that? The majority of guests that join our meetings join from a personal invite. It is very different to see an email. There are some people that will get the email or the flyer and will say, let me check this out because I'm interested in it. But more people will say, if I come and I say, hey, Mike, if we're having a conversation, and I say, you know what, do you want to come with me to my Toastmasters meeting or meet me? That is a huge way to bring guests in. So we need to motivate our members to participate that. Encourage them to invite their friends, their coworkers, family members, people they meet in the supermarket. A way to do that is to consider gamifying the situation. Create a guest referral incentive within your club. You can maybe have a tracking chart. Let's see who brings the most guests during the quarter. And there could be some nominal prize. The president could treat them to coffee, or it could just be for bragging rights. But gamify it and make it a part of your culture within your club so that every member understands to bring guests. Now, something that I know we used to do in our district a lot that I think we're starting to do now too is to create flyers and business cards. It is such an easy way to connect with people. If you're like me, I have those little decals that you buy in the TI store that says Toastmasters in the window of my car. I have a little sticker on my bumper, and I wear my Toastmasters t-shirts around all the time. Just in nature, we're talking to people. I attended a retirement party last night, actually. And as I was speaking, I was saying something about Toastmasters. I actually had a random guest who I never met come up to me and said, you know what? I wanted to know some more about Toastmasters. I had been planning to join. Imagine, of course, I had my business cards. I have my Toastmaster business cards with me. But imagine having those business cards for your club. You can grab the Toastmasters template from online and print 20, 30, 50. What if each member in your club had 5 in their wallet? So that not only do they say, can you come to this Toastmasters meeting? They can give them a physical card that they stick in their purse or their wallet. And guess what? When they say, oh, yeah, I wanted to do that, or when they're just going through that purse, here's the card with your club name, your meeting time, the email, the phone number, and other information. A local club that's not a club that I'm in actually posts flyers in our laundromat. We are no longer in the virtual world. Libraries, laundromats, coffee shops, they just had one of the flyer with the little tear-offs with the phone numbers. And guess what? I saw the flyer and there were like half of the little tabs were torn off. That means people in the laundromat, captive audience, saw the flyer and was curious enough to take the information to follow up later. So make sure you have those things available. And when you make flyers, ask every member to take 3 and post them somewhere. We don't all go to the same places, so your members extend your reach in that way. And that's a way to leverage your word of mouth and member referrals. Now, the third, I think, is probably my favorite, and this is hosting events and themed meetings. Now, most times people talk about open house. I'm not a big fan of open house because I think when somebody invites me to an open house, they want me to buy something. They're going to sell me something. I am a big fan of workshops. Workshops imply that you're getting something. And they don't only have to be Toastmasters specific. You can host a communication workshop. You can host an interview prep workshop. That's what we do with our table topics, extemporaneous speaking. You can look at your members that you have within your club. Every person has a job or had a job and has a skill set. Do you have a salsa instructor in your club? Could you have a salsa night themed meeting where they do a speech that's a demonstration for salsa and you have a reception afterwards where you do salsa dancing and have snacks? One of my club members, I'm in a number of clubs, so they're spread across 4 or 5 clubs, but one of my club members was a cert engineer, a certified, I forget the E, I lost it that quick, but they're part of the certified emergency response team for my city. So he actually was certified through our local city to be someone that helped respond and helped his neighborhood during emergencies. We used that to host a workshop and invited the community to come to learn what to do in case of an emergency and how to protect their families. What skill sets do your members have? You can host workshops within the format of a Toastmasters meeting, but we give our audience something that they want to meet. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to ask somebody to speak. So let's see, Jessica, what club are you a member of?
Sure. I'm part of the First Hawaiian Banks club.
Now, if I'm going to just assume, I don't know if you're a corporate or a community club, but a First Hawaiian Bank club could easily host a workshop on the value of making cents, right? Cents, CENTS. And you can have speakers. You can promote it to the community to learn about creating savings accounts or some other financial topic. That's something that would attract people in. And perhaps some of your speakers someone could do a talk about, I don't know, something that I probably need to attend that club myself and that event. I have to join you in Hawaii, but learn about investing or certain funds, all kinds of different things. What things are special about your club? Because every one of you have something special about your club. We've had so many. I keep thinking about, so once upon a time, and I think Anna was a part of this club, we had a club that was a dancing club. So they actually danced as part of their meetings. What things are special and what does your target audience value? Are you looking for people that are interviewing for careers? You can host professional workshops with that. Within your district, you have people that you can invite as guest speakers for these meetings. So think about those things. You can have fun theme meetings like a TED Talk. I don't know why that always gets me tongue-tied. A TED Talk style meeting, storytelling meeting. You can host a holiday event. One of my clubs has had a Halloween themed meeting. And even virtually, everybody came in costumes, and we had additional contests amongst all of the other Toastmasters things that we've had. And maybe the table topics questions were Halloween related. The world is your oyster, so don't be afraid to do any of those things. Something else that is wonderful, since the world is open, it's your oyster, is to attend local community events. One thing that my city happens to do is we have tons of things. We have a Hispanic Heritage event. We have a Black History Month event. We have an MLK Day parade. We have probably 4 or 5 different events that consist of having booths and stages set down our main street that people come out for. And our district sometimes sponsors tables at that. And the clubs that are in that area will come with their flyers, man the table, talk to people. We'll have a sign-in sheet, and we'll get their information and invite them to meetings. What community events can you have? Think about what things happen in your neighborhoods or in your city. Are there things you can participate in? Even if it's just to take a handful of flyers and walk around in your Toastmasters shirt and talk to people and leave a flyer with them, inviting them to your meetings when you visit the booth. Remember that personal outreach is the key this time around. Reach out to the local Rotary clubs. Invite them to your events. Try to support their events. If they're hosting something, set up a table there if you can. So we've talked about strengthening online presence. We've talked about leveraging word of mouth and member referrals. And we've talked about hosting special events and themed meetings. The fourth thing you can do is really engage with local businesses and organizations. Professional development. You as a club can offer that. Go to local businesses that maybe aren't big enough for us to start a club, but you can still connect with them and invite them and offer your flyers as, here's something that your employees will benefit from. This can be a part of professional development that you don't have to host. You just send them to our meetings and they can improve their communication and leadership skills. Consider reaching out to the HR professionals in your area, because we know that Toastmaster promotes communication and leadership skills. There's nothing that can prevent you from reaching and asking them to come in, or asking them if they're offering a program, if you can come and host a speechcraft, for example, there, and perhaps get members there. Offer it as if you're doing a 6 or 8 week professional development workshop that we can hold for their employees. There are many ways that you can consider doing that. I would also say, take a look around you. What are your local colleges, community colleges? What libraries are around you? What community centers, senior centers? These are also great places you can partner with. We actually have one of the schools here, Cal State Dominguez Hills, since there's a speech professor whom I've never met, who refers all of their people in their class to go attend a Toastmasters meeting. And several clubs that I've attended have had these people come in, and you'll say, oh, how did you find out? Oh, I'm in this class and my professor told me to come. We're like, oh yeah, we're used to it. We get a couple every year, and some of them join. Make connections with professors, with the students, put it on the bulletin boards. It's a great way to look for young professionals and students, but also consider your senior centers. Most senior centers are looking for enrichment for their members. And this is also something that you could do. You could do a partnership, invite the seniors on a field trip to your club meeting, or maybe host your club meeting at the senior center for their participation. You don't have to do the exact ideas that I'm saying, but start to think outside of the box. And who can you connect it with? Who's in your environment? Who can you speak to? So really look at engaging local businesses and organizations and invite them to participate in your club. Now, the fifth thing I think is equally as important as 1 through 4, because now we've made our presence, the first thing, strengthen our online presence. We've leveraged word of mouth. We've hosted our special events. We're reaching out to local businesses in our community. when we get to our meetings, we need to ensure they have an exceptional guest experience. So how do we do that? One of the things is, if you are a VPPR, if you are a member of a club that wants to grow, your best friend should be your vice president of membership in their team. Consider creating a guest liaison role. That doesn't have to just be the VPM. It could be a designated person. Andrew might be the guest relations person for the first meeting of the month. Terrell may be for the second meeting, Brent for the third, and so on. But make an intentional guest relations person and give them some duties. They're there just to welcome the guests you've been harvesting to bring in. Welcome in at the door. Hi, I'm Janell. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. How did you find out about us? Oh, let me show you over here. Let's get some coffee. Talk to them about what they're looking for. What are they trying to get out of Toastmasters? Be their buddy. You're their Toastmasters welcome buddy. At my job, one of the things we did before we were working remotely was whenever somebody was hired, they had an onboarding buddy. And that person would show them the ropes, show them where things were in the building, introduce them to people. That's what your guest relations person does for your club. Don't let a guest just come and sit down at the table and look around awkwardly like, okay, why did I come? Have somebody that's there to welcome them. Come sit with me. Get them the agenda. Talk them through the meeting. Ask them questions throughout. Now, the second part, though, is to consider having a post-meeting guest process. Actually figure it out and document it. And know that, okay, we had a guest. They were at the meeting. They signed the guest book. VPM, talk to them. Guest relations person, talk to them. What is next? Do we send a thank you email? Who sends that thank you email, thanking them for coming to the meeting? Reaching out to them to find out if they have any questions. At what point and when do we invite them to the next meeting? What are all of the things that you want to do around that? Formalize it, come up with that process, and then make sure you do it after every guest so that it becomes a routine. And then, of course, make sure you have engaged, fun, structured meetings. People are impressed with a well-organized machine. What does that mean? Each of us have a responsibility to show up, to participate, to honor the Toastmasters promise, to do your speeches, to fill all the functionary roles, and to come prepared. If your meeting starts at 9 a.m., don't walk in at 9 a.m. You want to be there ready to go 10 to 15 minutes before. Sort out any little last minute changes because we all know life happens. But for your guests walking in, do you want them to see a frantic, who's going to be the timer? Who's evaluating so-and-so? Or do you want them to see fun, happy energy and people ready to go so they see a well-organized meeting? Those are all things that we can do so that they get the impression that we want them to have. Whatever the culture is of your club, you want to set out that experience for them. So we have 5 things, and I'm going to do those, and then we can talk about any specific questions or challenges that you may have or your club may be having, and we can come up with some solutions together. So once again, the first thing we're going to do is strengthen our online presence, right? Make sure our information's up to date, share engaging content, and we're going to use hashtags and extend our reach. The second thing we're going to do, leverage word of mouth and member referrals. We're going to encourage our team. We're never going to let the members forget that they're a part of the PR team because it's all of our jobs to promote the club, and encourage them to invite their friends, family, and colleagues, and strangers that they meet around the world. Implement a guest referral and get some business cards and flyers so that all members have something they can whip out when they meet somebody they want to invite. Number 3, host special events and theme meetings. Reach out to the community. Number 4, engage with local businesses and organizations. Share that professional development, the leadership. Go to community locations and be available. And last, ensure an exceptional guest experience. These are 5 things that actually probably aren't really all that difficult if you think about it. It only takes you, a box of business cards, depending on where you go, is maybe $20, even if you print them professionally. There's templates on Toastmasters website. You can print them at Kinko's. That $20 box of 500 cards or however many comes in there, if you give every member 5, that would last you probably a year. But how many additional people could you invite that you wouldn't necessarily see via email? These are all simple things that you can do to boost your Toastmasters club and attract guests in these next few months before the end of the Toastmasters year, no matter what your goal is. If you do these things and make them part of your routine, you will be on your way to growing to be the clubs that you want to be. That is my presentation. And now I just want to open it up for questions or any comments and things that you may want to talk with this amazing group to figure out how we can help support your club.